this lesson, we're going to chill out with icebox pies. I'm going to show you how to make a key lime pie that thickens up and just cooks a little while in the oven. I'm going to show you how to make wonderful whipped cream, which is so much simpler than you think, and a glorious finish to so many dishes. And then we're going to make a strawberry icebox pie, strawberries and cream, whipped cream in it, that is going to be the pink, beautiful treat of any celebration. Key lime pie, a lot of people's favorites, and it's named after a particular kind of lime, which originates in the Florida Keys. And its wonderful characteristic is that it's absolutely tiny. The skin is so thin, and it's just, it looks so tiny, how could there be much juice in there? But it's really nothing but juice. Look at it inside. And it has a distinctive and wonderful flavor. So if you have a proper key lime pie, you've used these limes. I'm going to show you how to squeeze them, how to get that juice out of them, because even if you have a lemon squeezer at home, it may be too large for these particular little fruits. You could also make the same pie with a regular lime. You could use lemon, and then it would be a lemon icebox pie. And you can also buy key lime juice already squeezed out. Sometimes it's in supermarkets. There's one particular brand from the Florida Keys. But I think the most important thing about it is that it's citrusy and absolutely delicious. And remember, a key lime pie is not going to be green if it's its natural color. This is squeezed out key lime juice, and it's really looks a lot like lemon juice, but it has a special flavor. Now, juicing these little limes, I cut them in half crosswise. For being so tiny, they have a lot more seeds than you think they'd have. And I like to just use a fork, my favorite tool, and just stick that in to get you started and work your way around. Look at all those seeds. I wish there was a use for those, but we'll get plenty of work out of the lime. And I just like to get my hands in there and push. You want the pulp. The pulp is where so much of the juice is hiding. And this takes a little bit of time, but you can do it ahead of time. You can get a crew of people helping you. And for one pie, you need a half cup of key lime juice. So with all those seeds, I like to squeeze it and then just pour it through a sieve. And I don't want to stop here. I want to press on it and just make sure if there's any pulp that hasn't made it through the screen wire, I want to get all of that out. That looks good. Now I've already got what I need measured out here, so I'm going to set these aside. And this is absolutely one of the easiest pies that you can make. It does get baked just a little bit because it does have egg yolks in it. But again, it's icebox because most of the activity of preparing this pie is letting it chill out in the oven. You start with sweetened condensed milk, which is, I see one seed in there, I'm going to leave it, it's good luck. Sweetened condensed milk is an old ingredient. It comes from, I think it's late 1800s, early 1900s, and it was invented as not so much as a convenience food, but as a way to be able to have milk in, say, a tropical climate like South Florida before air conditioning and refrigeration were common. So sweetened condensed milk is used a lot in desserts, and of course you could add equal parts of water and dilute it to be milk, but it's the basis of this wonderful pie. So I'm going to add 4 egg yolks, which I've beaten up really well, and I'm going to add the key lime juice, which we've strained, one little seed there, and get all those sort of gently combined. And at this point, you're going to need a little bit of help, and I'm going to use a whisk. Fork would work. You could use a mixer, but a whisk is fine for this. And I'm not using a balloon whisk. I'm using a smaller one because I don't really need to beat air in. I'm just trying to emulsify. I'm trying to bring different textured liquids together into one common texture. See how it's thickening up? So there is chemical culinary magic going on. The egg yolks and the acid from the key limes and the milk are all on your side. They just naturally want to thicken up into a pudding. If I want a mixture like this for a pie, sometimes I have to add cornstarch and cook it up, but here's a way to bring things together into a wonderful pie filling, and all I did was stir. Okay, my whisk has done its job. And, oh, forgot the salt. You know what I do? Put it in now. Don't tell anybody. It will go in just fine. Evenly mixed. Just one of those little flavor tweakers. And I'm going to do this in a graham cracker crust, which is, I think, the kind of the modern version. The original version of key lime pie, which is one of those old classics when I was working on my Southern Pies cookbook. This is one where I thought, well, you know, that's a modern bridge party 50s kind of thing. This goes back again to the turn of the century. And originally it was made with a pastry pie crust cooked in advance, like we've talked about doing with some pies where you've got a cooked filling. And of course we have 4 egg whites left. So the most traditional old-fashioned way would be to do this filling in a pastry crust with a meringue top. That's a way to go. That's perfectly fine. This kind of is great for summer. That graham cracker crust, you can just have it around. You could use a ginger snap crust if you wanted to have that lime and ginger thing going on. Doesn't that look luscious and fabulous? And if you wanted it to be green, a little food coloring could happen. You know, things that we think are green, mint ice cream, pistachio ice cream, key lime pie that's green. It's had a little help, but that's okay. You know what? We're going to put whipped cream on top of this. You won't even know. So at this point, I'm going to put this in a slow oven, about 350 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. That's just going to cook the egg yolks. And then we'll chill it, and I'm going to show you how to make fabulous whipped cream to put on top. Be back. Now you may be saying to yourself, why should I make my own whipped cream? It's trouble. Okay, it's a little bit of trouble. You get a bowl dirty. I'll tell you what, it's delicious. It's absolutely wonderful. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, and I'm going to show you how simple it is. Now, one reason people don't want to do it maybe is they don't know when to stop. So I'm afraid I'll whip it too far, and everybody knows that if you whip cream too long, it turns into butter. So let's just see how long that takes. Let's just see what would happen. And I'm going to start low and build it up. Might splash a little bit here, bubbly, bubbly. And when you go to the grocery store, you'll see whipping cream and heavy cream. And they're basically the same thing. If you were to look on the label, they have maybe a different proportion of butterfat, a higher butterfat content in heavy cream than whipping cream, or maybe it's the other way around, I don't know. They will both go into a bowl and puff up and make a wonderful creamy treat to put on your desserts. So I don't worry about it too much. And I'll take this up as high as it'll go. I want to keep a spoon, you know, so it's right now milky and creamy, but I want it to swell. You know, I don't think of it just as thickening, I think of it as swelling up. I've got my favorite spatula here, switching around, and I'm pushing in from the sides because, of course, on the sides is the part that's not getting any of the attention of the beater. See how quickly that's thickening? Look at that. Now, I would stop, but I've decided that I want to make butter, and it's beautiful and luxurious. If I were trying to make whipped cream, I would have already put my sugar in. But I just want to see how long it takes to go to butter. Look at that thickness. Look how rich that is. Has it even been a minute? Putting those sides in, keep it even. Ah, I can see the texture changing. This is really rich. And in case you're thinking, is she going to throw that away? She can't use it on the pie? Never. No way. Because you know what? When you're making pies, you can always find a use for delicious, freshly made butter. Now, if we were doing this in a butter churn on the front porch, we'd say freshly churned butter. But you've seen whipped butter. You thought that was just to make it more spreadable, but it's also to make it, it's also what you could say if you are making your own at home. Okay, I think we're there. Just want to make sure I've got everything to the same texture. We're done. Okay, now I'm going to need to clean off those beaters. And here you have it. Now, this is a very high butterfat cream. So I don't have, can you see there's just a tiny little bit of liquid there? Actually, let me put it in the sieve just in case. Let's see. I bet we might get some more liquid out of it if we shake it. This is so rich that there's just not a lot of milk water left over. I'm actually going to put all that through again. Because for the butter, I want to get rid of all this extra liquid. I just want the solid part. See there? And I can take this and I can put it in my fridge and let it set up. And then I've got butter to put on pancakes or waffles. I've got butter to use in making an all butter or combination butter pie crust. And so I could use it in some kind of sweet baking. But you've now got a soft, let me show you the texture of this. Yeah, see, it didn't look to me like there was any liquid in there, but there is just the tiniest little bit. If we used a lower butter fat kind of cream, it would have been maybe 3/4, there'd be more of the liquid. But here we've got more butter, and that was my goal anyway. So I'm pressing on that. Now this is soft and tender. It'll set up in the fridge. You could also chop up herbs and mix them in and have a wonderful herb butter, which you can freeze and then put little circles of herb butter, freeze it into a log, slice it off, and put that on a steak. Yummy. Anything you can do with butter, you could do here. So if you go too far, you've got wonderful butter. I'm going to clear this up, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do whipped cream properly, and we're going to put it on our fabulous key lime pie for the finishing touch. Now let's do it and stop before we get to butter. And after you saw how quickly it turned to butter, you're going to be amazed at how quickly it turns to wonderful whipped cream to either put on your desserts or to use in a recipe. Okay, so again, with the power, and of course you could do this with a whisk. You could do it with an egg beater. Kids doing it with an egg beater, what a hoot. In fact, if you want to keep kids busy, you could put some of the cream into a jar and with a tight fitting lid and send somebody off and say, shake this until it turns to butter. That's a good little science project when somebody's out of school and needs some entertainment. Okay, so this is thickening. I'm using confectioner's sugar, powdered sugar. I've been told that makes the whipped cream hold a little bit better, not deflate as quickly. Some people use superfine sugar. Brown sugar makes what's called, oh, it's getting thick. Got to get this in. Sorry, talking too much. I'm going to put in go ahead and put that in so I make sure I get everything in. And now I'm going to turn it off and stop and mix. I was chatting and not paying attention to the texture of my cream. So let me scrape down and get the sugar mixed in, because I am almost there. Let me keep all that goodness. All right, let's just bring those last ingredients in. Smooth it out, rattle, rattle, and we're good. Perfect. You can do whipped cream ahead of time. It's so fast. Let's say if I were taking a dessert, if I were going to a covered dish supper and I wanted to do whipped cream, I often take my little hand mixer and the cream and the beaters in a bowl and just do it right there in the kitchen, because I just love doing it at the last minute, and then I don't have to transfer it to anything, and I don't have to worry about it losing its oomph. Okay, so I'm just going to push this around to the side. Now this is if you are a piper, if you like to pipe things with a pastry bag, see how thick this is? This would pipe beautifully. You could make little rosettes or stars, but I'm just all about covering up the pie so that it looks luscious and glorious. And I'm just coming around to the sides. Now, you could also just plop it in the middle and let some of the pie show. And you could even just pass the cream at the table. Although I kind of like to say, this goes with whipped cream, here it is. Would probably be my way. Okay, I've got it all covered. I'm just going to swirl it around a little bit. And there you have it. Luscious whipped cream. Did that take 2 minutes? It certainly didn't take more than 3. And you've got a gorgeous, wait a minute, that's sticking up a little too much. I want sort of the surface of, I want it to look like clouds, not like the surface of the moon. Okay, here we have it, key lime pie. I would put this in the fridge for, about a half an hour would be nice. If I had to serve it right away, I could, but this is going to hold. So if you wanted to do this right as you sat down to dinner, it's going to just be perfectly chilled when you bring it out after a meal. So, key lime pie with whipped cream that you made yourself at home. You're going to love this. Now we're staying cool here, making icebox pies, which are not just for summer, they're fabulous all year round. And I wanted to do an icebox pie that didn't use gelatin. Gelatin is probably the most common way to make wonderful ingredients set up into a sliceable, cool, refreshing filling. But there's an old-fashioned way, which is to use a cornstarch slurry. I love that word. So mixing water and cornstarch, which is the incredible magical thickening agent. It's in any grocery store. And you stir cornstarch, which is a flour milled out of part of corn, not cornmeal like grits and cornbread, but it's the starch from the corn, and it is incredible thickening power. I'm just stirring out all the lumps and getting that nice and mixed. And I'm going to leave my fork. Always leave, when you do this, you want to do it in advance, and you want to leave your utensil in there, because if you took maybe 5 minutes away, it would kind of set up and it might need just another quick stir. I'm going to leave that there. Okay, this is a no-bake pie. It's not no cook, but there's no bake, no oven. So if you're wanting to cook and stay on the stovetop and not even be cooking too long, this is a perfect one. So I've got beautiful chopped fresh strawberries, and you could use frozen for this if you wanted to. And I'm putting them into, chopped pretty finely, I'm putting them into a nice heavy saucepan with sugar and a little salt. And before I even turn the heat on, I'm going to mix those together, just tossing and turning, and you're going to see juice forming. Strawberries and sugar love each other, and as soon as they get together, they just start making the loveliest syrup and sort of releasing that strawberry flavor. So before we've even started cooking, look how luscious this is getting, and shiny and making wonderful strawberry sounds. Okay, I've got that nicely mixed up, starting to become juicy, and I'm going to put it on. I'm going to start on pretty high flame because I want it to really get going, and I'm going to have this cooking for 3 to 5 minutes. I want it to get nice and thick and soft, and what I'm looking for is lots and lots of juice. So I'm going to have my strawberries, sugar, and salt cooking until this becomes very liquid and until the berry bits are floating in a wonderful juice. Then I'm going to mash it up because I want just the tiniest little bits of strawberries. And it's almost like I'm making jam. In fact, you could make this pie with your favorite kind of fruity jam. If you had blackberry jam that had bits of blackberries in it, that would be a wonderful, wonderful way to go. I'm wanting this to, since I'm standing right here, I'm not taking phone calls. I'm not answering the doorbell. I've got it up really high because I want to get things cooking. There's a lovely English dessert called a fool, and you just whip cream. Don't let it turn to butter, but whip it to that perfect state, and then put mashed sugared fruit into it, and you've almost got like a little sweet summer pudding. So this is kind of taking fool to another level. We're going to add the cornstarch, and that's going to let it thicken up enough that it can make a wonderful substance that goes into a pie shell and can be sliced and just crown your dessert table in the most wonderful way. Okay, this oven is, now this stove, this is a really powerful gas stove, so things are going to happen here maybe faster than they do on your home stove. And don't worry, when the timing, if I say 3 to 5 minutes and it takes you 5 to 7 minutes, don't worry. Think about what I said. Think about it, well, I need more juice to come out of it. So when we're giving you cooking instructions, we're giving you time cues, we're giving you advice, but I always want you to sort of be looking at it and thinking about what's supposed to happen and kind of be confident in that usually, unless something catches on fire or falls on the floor, you're usually going to come out with something that you can enjoy. Okay, this is getting nice and saucy. Can you see all that liquid coming out, a beautiful syrup? You could stop now and put this on ice cream if you just decided, oh, it's too much trouble, I just want strawberry sauce. Here you are. And I'm going to let this simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. I want it to thicken up some, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Can you believe how much juice has come out here? And it's bubbling away, it's boiling gently. And you would think that I'd added water or something, but this is just the juice from the strawberries and the sugar. So that's exactly where I want it to be. I'm going to turn off the heat. And they're pretty soft, but I don't want this to be lumpy with strawberries. I kind of want it to be a a strawberry creamy essence. So I'm just going to mash these up just a little bit and just giving them a little help dissolving. And now, get all that off. And now I'm going to turn it back on because I want it to be cooking vividly. I want it to be bubbling away. Bring that back up to, there we go. I want it to be bubbling when I add the cornstarch. So this is my cornstarch and water, which I put together, and let's see if, well, it's settled some on the bottom, so I'm going to stir it back up. So I'm going to use this tool and see if I can show you how. No, it's pretty good. Okay, so you just want to make sure that there aren't any lumps and that this is still nicely dissolved in the cold water. And I'm going to add this stirring into the cooking strawberries, and it's going to stir up. You know, I've got a little strawberry leaf in there. If you see an unidentified floating object, it's a lucky leaf of strawberry, so we'll pull that out when things cool down. And now it's super hot. Now I want it to be boiling high, boiling gently, boiling high, boiling gently. So now I want it to, oh, it's thickening so quickly. Can you see that? Look at this. Strawberry, yummy essence. You know what? I'm turning it off. There's enough heat. This stove is super hot, and I've got a great pan that's conducting the heat really well. So just, you remember, this is a time you're looking for the changes. You're not, the time is to kind of give you a guideline. But, this was just a minute or two. So see how thick and luscious that is? Luscious is my favorite word. Luxurious. Oh, the aroma of strawberries is so fabulous. And did I tell you that you could make this with frozen strawberries if you wanted to? And I think raspberries would be very lovely too. I haven't tried that, but I'm going to go home and try that. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in my last two ingredients. Everything's in except a tad of butter, little pat, and a little bit of vanilla, tiniest bit of vanilla, and almond extract would be lovely in here too. Or if you had some other flavoring, I think even a little orange or a little ginger extract, orange or lemon extract. If there were a ginger extract, I would put it in here, but a little bit of candied ginger or even fresh ginger chopped very finely, I think would be a lovely addition. And I'm just stirring. I just want that butter to melt, and that's going to be my sign that we're done. I'm just scrape down the sides. I don't want to lose any of this goodness. And so this is the flavor of our pie, and we're almost to our final ingredient. Okay, there you have it, strawberry goodness. So this is perfect now. We're almost finished with the strawberry icebox pie, but this is hot and I need to cool it down. If I leave it sitting, it'll probably take 2 or 3 hours to cool, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a speedy, quick flash so that you don't have to wait so long to enjoy your pie. So I've got a problem. I've got a pot full of wonderful strawberry essence, glorious goo that is going to be a lovely strawberry icebox pie. But right now it's hot, and I can't mix it with whipped cream until it cools down. So if you've got time, you can just leave it sitting here in this pot for a couple of hours, and it'll just cool off Mother Nature's way. But I don't want to wait for Mother Nature, so I'm going to use something that chefs use in restaurants all the time because they're often in this situation of needing to time shift, and that's called an ice bath. So I've got a big container full of icy cold water, and I've got a bowl that is, and I'm using metal because everything is going to conduct. I want the coldness to come in here and the hotness to dissipate. So I'm using these fabulous stackable, nestable stainless steel bowls, which are one of the cook's best friends in my opinion. So I'm going to put the strawberry mixture into a stainless steel bowl, which is big enough to be exposed to a lot of the ice water, but small enough to fit down into the water bath. And you could use any two receptacles, any two containers. And let's see, I made sort of a strawberry goo mess there. And then I'm going to move my water bath over and put my strawberries in here and give them a little bath. And then now it's just stir and stir and stir. And I want to bring them up. It's almost like I'm cooking in a wok. I'm stirring up onto the sides. Oh my goodness, I'm getting a strawberry aroma bath right now. A beautiful taste of how delicious this pie is going to be. And the color, you know, this is all just how it grew. Such a treat. So if I were waiting for this to cool in the pot in which it cooked, it's going to be probably 2 or 3 hours. This way, stirring it, I think 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. There's the little leaf that we found. Natural strawberry leaf, that shows we're using real strawberries. And I'm just going to stir, and this is going to cool off. And as soon as it's cool, I'm going to stop. I'm going to whip a little bit more cream, and we're going to finish off this glorious strawberry icebox pie. So I'll be back. I can't believe how quickly my ice bath cooled off the strawberry filling. It was under 10 minutes. And so now I have this luxurious strawberry essence, and here's the finishing touch of the barely cooked pie. And this is whipped cream. There's no sugar in it this time because, of course, the sugar is already in the strawberry filling. And I just want to fold that in, and that's going to enrich and lighten up the strawberry. It's almost like strawberry jam. Of course, you wouldn't thicken strawberry jam that much, but it's just going to make this into a little bit airy and a little bit ethereal, lovely pie filling. And I've got little, remember I mashed up the strawberries a bit, but I've still got bits of whole strawberry and just a lot of the strawberry syrup mixed in now with cream and lightened up with cream. I don't mean lightened up like light, I mean like cloudy, beautiful essence. Okay, so I'm gonna pour the filling into my graham cracker crust, which is one way to go. We could use ginger crumb crust. We could use vanilla wafer crust, any cookie crumb. And you know what? This would be absolutely lovely in a fully baked pie shell. And while you don't have to put whipped cream on top, you certainly could. You couldn't do meringue on this one because, of course, this is an icebox pie and a cream-based icebox pie, which couldn't go in an oven like the more sturdy key lime. But this really doesn't need anything else. Is that gorgeous? And you're ready. And now the only thing you have to do is wait. This needs to go into the fridge and chill for at least 4 hours, and it's going to be happier if it has more like 8. This is a good one to make at night and have for breakfast, or make in the morning and have for supper. The longer it chills, the more likely you're going to be able to get those beautiful slices. But I'll tell you what, if you get really hungry, it's ready to eat, you could just dig in there and pretend it's pudding. This is one of my favorites, strawberry icebox pie, with or without whipped cream on the side. This is just a glorious, cool pie any time of year. So these are our 2 icebox pies. The strawberry icebox pie needs to chill. You'll know it's ready when it's not wiggling like that. We need to put it in the fridge and let it chill out 4 hours, 8 hours is better. It'll be perfect the next day. So this is a great one to make ahead. And this is our key lime pie, and it's had a nice long time to chill, and it actually didn't spend that much time being hot. Remember, we just stirred it together, and it goes in the oven for just 15 minutes to just cook those egg yolks, and then all it needs to do is get cold. So this one is ready to slice, and I want to give you a peek inside. Remember, the whipped cream top is going to be, you could sprinkle lime zest on it if you wanted to sort of give a hint of what's inside. And lift that out. And there we go, graham cracker crust. And you'll see you've got that nice yellow key lime filling on the bottom. And you can keep this a day or two, both of these a day or two in the fridge. Just cover them up if you're keeping them overnight. And make these on a hot summer day. But I'll tell you a secret, they're good in the winter too. They're good all year long. Icebox pies. So there you have it, classic pies made easy. I hope you enjoyed watching me make these pies, and now I hope you're really going to try them at home. And I really want you to share your pictures with me so that I can see how it works for you. Thank you so much for spending time here, and happy cooking, happy eating.